Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Let me begin with a story. A girl was born in a small village in Nepal, where nature felt closer than people. She grew up with 4 brothers, playing football together, barefoot on dusty fields, walking to school side by side, and fighting the way siblings do. At home, she never experienced gender discrimination. But when she stepped into the wider world, she began to see how deeply inequality shapes women's lives. After 10 years of schooling in her village, she moved to a city to pursue higher education. But it was not easy. There was no transportation available. Armed conflict had spread across the country. She traveled alone on foot for 3 days, crossing dense forest, roaring rivers, and countless steep hills. And most importantly, confronting her fears. Each step was more than a journey. It was a test of courage. Yet this challenging journey was still easier than the lifelong struggles faced by many girls in society. This reality hit her even harder when she worked as a teacher in a remote school. The school was far from city. Traditional gender stereotypes were deeply rooted in the society. Girls often married in their teens and gave birth at a very young age. Their small hands meant to behold pens and books now carried water jugs, firewoods, and relentless burdens of household responsibilities. Even girls who tried to continue school after marriage, once they became mothers, gradually replaced their textbook with cradles, bringing their formal education to the end. Boys, on the other hand, were sent to private schools in city if the family was financially capable. She witnessed how gender-based discrimination restricted girls' access to education and limited their futures. That experience changed her life purpose. Once she dreaming of future abroad, now she decided to stay in her own country and work as a change maker through public sector. She began serving her nation. And today, the same girl stands before you, sharing her story. I thank to my amazing parents for not teaching me gender roles and making me capable to stepping alone outside the home. The nature and degree of inequality may vary from place to place, but gender inequality exists everywhere, from developing nations to the most developed ones. Here I am not claiming that gender equality is only about women. It's about both. But data shows that women are consistently behind men. As Global Gender Gap Report 2025 says, the world has closed 68.8% of gender gap. At first glance, this appears to be progress, until we confront the more difficult question: what about the remaining 31.2%? Data from World Health Organization 2024 reveals a sobering reality. Worldwide, 1 in every 3 girls have experienced physical or sexual violence. 38% of murders of women are committed by intimate partners. 42% of women have experienced intimate partner violence. These are not just the numbers. They are a call to action. Every girl deserves a chance to hold a pen, pursue her dreams, and to be treated equally. Rethink, rebuild, and rise. 3 words. Simple words. But for millions of women around the world, these are not just the words. They are a journey of survival, resistance, and hope. How many dreams have been silent? Not because they were impossible, but because they belong to a girl. From a very young age, they are taught what not to do, instead of being encouraged to imagine them, what they can do. Don't speak loudly. Girls should be polite, quiet, and agreeable. Don't walk alone outside the home. It is not safe for a girl. And don't dream too big. It is difficult for a woman. And slowly, these messages not just surround them, they settle inside them. That's why the first step towards the empowerment is not action. It is rethinking. Rethink the limits that society places on women and rethink what is possible for ourselves. But rethinking alone is not enough. After awareness comes the hardest work, rebuilding. Rebuilding confidence after being told again and again to stay small. Rebuilding courage after fear has been normalized. Rebuilding dreams after society quietly convinces women to give them up. Rebuilding is slow, it is painful, and often it is invisible. Women rebuild themselves every day. In classrooms, where confidence should be learned as much as content, in workplaces, where they must prove twice as much, and in homes, where expectations are unequal. Empowerment is not about becoming fearless. It's about moving forward despite fear. Every time when a woman chooses education over silence, choice over obedience, and self-respect over approval, she is rebuilding not just her own life, but the foundation for a more equal world. And then comes the moment when rebuilding turns into something powerful. Women rise. They rise as leaders, innovators, creators, and change makers. They rise not by pushing others down, but by lifting others up. When women rise, families grow stronger. When women rise, communities unlock their potential. When women rise, society moves forward. But rising does not mean never falling. Rising means falling, yet refusing to stay down. It means claiming space in a world that often tells women to shrink. Speaking, even your voice falters. And most importantly, rising is not a journey meant to be walked alone. The true empowerment happens when we rise together. Success is shared, support is loud, and solidarity replaces competition. So today, I invite you, not just women, but everyone listening, to reflect. What we live in homes, in workplaces, and in community needs to be rethought. What confidence needs to be rebuilt, and whose rise are you willing to support? Empowering women does not take power away from anyone else. It multiplies it. Because when women rise, our future rises with them. So, let's rethink the limits, rebuild the strength, and rise together. Not tomorrow, but today. Let me leave you with the words from the youngest Nobel Peace Prize laureate, Malala Yousafzai. I raise up my voice. I raise up my voice, not so that I can shout, but so that those without a voice can be heard. Thank you.